A gaming console that doesn't just break the mold, it shatters it. The Nintendo Switch 2 is on the horizon, and the gaming world is holding its breath. But what features does it absolutely need to have to not just compete, but dominate the next era of gaming? In this video, we have answered all these questions. One of the main features Nintendo Switch 2 should have is backwards compatibility. Let us begin by addressing the most important issue. Relying only on the vast library that the first Switch developed would be a mistake for the Switch 2, and there have been some contradictory reports and conjecture about features related to backward compatibility. Nintendo has worked hard to create a system that delivers a massive library of games and allows players to use a variety of emulators to access a pretty substantial selection of titles from its back catalog. Its next system has to be cross-generational game-friendly and have backwards compatibility in order to be a legitimate successor to the Switch. One of the most persistent rumors about the upcoming Switch version is that it will run in 4, which is a significant improvement above the current maximum resolution of 1080. Nintendo may use the same approach it took with the 3DS and add a tab on Switch 2 game cards to prevent them from being put into the first Switch. But in order to avoid any misunderstanding, the firm must take other steps. Moving forward, Nintendo needs a name that sets Switch 2 apart. The greatest example of naming conventions and how they may impact sales directly is perhaps Nintendo's Wii U. Despite having a confusing moniker that caused confusion among customers and resulted in sales statistics that were lower than those of the original Wii, the Wii U is nevertheless considered a well-designed and entertaining gadget with some good games. To avoid being mistaken for a Switch add-on, the Switch 2 would benefit from a name that makes it obvious how different it is from the original Switch. With the disastrous Wii U's low sales, which had some gamers fear that Nintendo's home console days were coming to an end, Nintendo undoubtedly knows better than anybody. However, Nintendo did manage to promote its handhelds considerably more successfully than its then-new home system. It is arguable that the corporation used similar naming strategies for the DS line of handheld devices. Having said that, it's not as if Nintendo has never taken a chance when launching new systems. Consider the DS, for instance, which Nintendo obliquely referred to as a third pillar in their portfolio alongside the Game Boy Advance and GameCube. Although the Game Boy moniker hasn't been seen on a platform since, Nintendo helped lessen the damage by introducing backward compatibility. Better Joycons are yet another feature that the Nintendo Switch 2 needs. Although the Switch Joy-Cons are not bad controllers overall, they are notorious for developing a phenomenon called Joy-Con drift, which is an inaccuracy in input. Gamers were unhappy to learn that the upgraded Switch will ship with the same Joy-Cons as the original when Nintendo introduced the Switch OLED. It's possible that Nintendo decided against updating the Joy-Cons because doing so may have been seen as an admission of liability in the many class action lawsuits that the business has recently been the target of. The installation of Hall sensor joysticks is one of the primary aftermarket fixes for the Joy-Con drift problem. This seems to function with different degrees of effectiveness since these aftermarket components don't seem to react exactly the same as the original joysticks do. With the Switch 2, maybe Nintendo has taken notice of this and included a more durable joystick. Nintendo's joystick problems are nothing new. With the debut of Super Smash Bros. 4 for the 3DS, many 3DS users had malfunctioning circle pads. Another argument in favor of joystick wear and tear was made by Nintendo in response to class action litigation it was facing. Apart from that, the Joy-Cons are good controllers. It's great that they can be simply swapped out for new ones since they are modular. Since the Joy-Con issue is so awful, most people's main criticisms about the Switch center on it. It doesn't help that a lot of players had issues with Joy-Con connection straight out of the box. The Nintendo Switch requires Ethernet connectivity built in. Although using Wi-Fi to access the internet is OK, many gamers prefer the dependability of an Ethernet cable connection. It would be convenient if the dock had an integrated Ethernet connector. However, this is achievable with the Switch by purchasing a dongle. Nintendo has addressed this with the upgraded OLED Switch. Nevertheless, even though it is expected that the enhancements made to the OLED will be carried over to the eventual replacement. To be honest, this is a little picky, but some players may experience Wi-Fi delay if the Switch is to obtain popular competitive multiplayer titles like Call of Duty. It looks like a minor error that the dock does not include an Ethernet port. Latency is a major problem even with games like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. In retrospect, it seems sense that Nintendo opted not to add more hardware to improve the graphics performance of the dock, and even in 2023, the Switch remains a powerful small device. Moving forward, Switch need a superior social ecosystem online. There are drawbacks to Nintendo's attempts to make the Switch as family-friendly as possible. Although the Switch allows you to add friends and play games with them, features like voice chat and messaging are severely limited. For example, you cannot message or organize a get-together with friends via the home menu, and voice chat requires users to download an app to their smartphone in order to communicate. A complex and intricate system, to put it bluntly. Everyone except Nintendo finds it difficult to understand the reasoning behind Nintendo's strategy for internet communication. When contrasting the present system with the old Miiverse, one may even argue that the situation is worse. While there were undoubtedly some issues with the Miiverse itself, and it seemed to be extremely difficult for Nintendo to control what was posted on the site, all in all, it was an interesting and entertaining online community that let users express themselves. Street Pass is an additional function that the Nintendo Switch ought to have. The iconic Street Pass system was another feature exclusive to the Nintendo 3DS that was not carried over to the Nintendo Switch. It was possible to ping each other's active systems with an active 3DS only by carrying one about, as a nice little antisocial method of letting each other know you're alive. Bit data was exchanged, which not only made it possible to play entertaining and original games, but also provided a lighthearted means of feeling a bit more connected to people across the globe. This might have been continued with the Switch's portable mobility, but regrettably it wasn't. More entertainment apps are needed for the Switch's eShop. The lack of popular applications for streaming TV and movies on the Switch is one of the most perplexing omissions. There are a handful, but Switch owners would almost definitely welcome additional variety so they can use their system as the focal point of their home entertainment setup. Currently, the Switch offers a variety of streaming services, including YouTube, Crunchyroll, and Funimation. This is great if you're an anime lover, but if you want to watch the newest series on something like Disney Plus or Netflix, you'll have to use a separate console or, in some cases, the app on your smart TV. One doesn't always feel like gaming. Sometimes it's wonderful to simply relax and catch up on the newest episode of that series. The Switch allows you to carry your entertainment with you wherever you go, and it's nice to have some diversity on the Switch. It's hard to tell for sure, but it's possible that the absence of applications for popular services has more to do with those services than with Nintendo. Lastly, the Switch needs to launch the theme. One entertaining customizing feature of the Nintendo 3DS and 2DS portable consoles was the ability for users to download and install themes. These themes would add a little more excitement to the system by altering the backgrounds and even some of the button icons. Reintroducing themes as downloadable packs to give the Switch 2's virtual screens a new and personalized experience would make sense as another reason to want to collect points with the My Nintendo Rewards points in store, and would give people a customization experience that would set their new console apart. As we conclude our dive into the future of gaming with the Nintendo Switch 2, we hope you're as excited as we are about the potential game changers that await. What features would you like to see in the Nintendo Switch 2? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this exploration. Subscribe to our channel for more gaming insights, reviews, and updates. Until next time, happy gaming!